Hello, welcome to The Collision. Daniel here again with Sarah. Talk about more Star Wars, The Mandalorian, Episode 4, The Sanctuary. So let's talk about it. So Episode 4, we're now halfway through The Mandalorian, which is crazy. It feels like all the hype, the build up to the show was just yesterday, but we're already halfway through. So what do you think, what are your initial thoughts of this last episode? The Sin was kind of a crazy action-packed, a lot happened. Kind of ended with the big scene with the Mandalorians and the big battle. You know, he flies off to space with little baby Yoda. We were kind of wondering last week, where's the story going? What's going to happen next after that? So what were your first thoughts on episode 4?
I enjoyed it. It wasn't as intense as the last episode, a little more chill. I thought it was kind of hilarious how he picked the planet he was going to. I thought there would be some meaning and some somewhere he's been before or somewhere he knew, but he kind of just looked at his map and was just let's go there.
This one looks remote.
Let's just pick this planet.
Just trying to kind of trying to lay low. The end of the last episode. I agree. Overall, and obviously the end of this episode ended with a big battle, which we can get into in a second. But for the most part, the first 2/3 of this episode were pretty kind of slow paced, subdued, kind of a catch your breath. I guess it's a product of only an 8-episode season, but it didn't really feel like a mid-season.
Yeah, there wasn't a huge I feel like kind of normal. You're going upwards with the storyline and getting the climax of the show, but it kind of just kind of evened out for a
and that's something. And actually, why don't we can just talk about that right now? It's somewhat of a negative, not a negative, but it's just sort of a question I've had with this show, and that's kind of what you're saying. It's just trying to figure out where this show is going. Mm-hmm. Again, I've loved all 4 episodes. I think there's tons of good stuff, and we'll get into that too. But it's hard for me to kind of get my finger on what's sort of this show about, because this was another kind of like the second episode with the Jawas and fighting the rhino creature. It's it felt like an adventure of the week kind of Saturday morning cartoon where he doesn't really tie into as much to the overall story. It's He's off, he finds a planet, he meets someone, they kind of rescue this village, which was totally a Magnificent Seven callback, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I love that. But again, then they're leaving the planet at the end. So
it doesn't entirely accomplish anything.
Yeah, and you get kind of some you learn more about him.
Yeah. But it kind of is almost a wash because he just, now he has to go find it. He just kind of has to start all over again and find another planet for them to land.
Yeah, and it's kind of I think some people, again, maybe you feel this way too, might feel like it's a filler episode. It's just kind of putting in time. I don't think it was that. I don't think it was a throwaway.
Yeah.
I'm okay with kind of the Saturday morning adventure of the week. What new mission is he on this week? But it's, as far as sort of the momentum, we're already halfway through the season, and I feel like there's not a whole lot of momentum pushing the show forward as far as what the overall stakes are. And I think, at the end of this season, once we get more of that, I think looking back, be yeah, that's fine. It's kind of a fun adventure.
Yeah.
I hope we get that though. I hope we get kind of, because we still don't really have a main villain for this show. We know Baby Yoda matters, but we don't know why. Do you feel that way?
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's momentum leading up to, from episode to episode, or is it kind of still just
They all kind of seem a little bit on their, they don't, they're kind of different. Each are kind of different. They've all had a different feel. And this one is just kind of, I liked it. It didn't really there was no trajectory kind of going.
Yeah, and this is maybe kind of one of my, and I don't even necessarily mean this as a negative critique. I love the episode. But it's kind of almost like the show is in some ways coasting on just the Star Wars property. Every week, for the first 4 episodes, it's been super excited. A new episode dropped. Can't wait to watch it. But I feel like so far, at least for me, and again, let us know if you feel the same, if you disagree with this. But it's almost like I'm excited each week just to get brought back into the world of Star Wars, see what kind of cool ships and kind of alien species. But it's, and so I'm excited to kind of, just live in that world that I love. But it's not like every episode's, left. Okay, what's going to happen in the story next? I get left on this big cliffhanger. What's my big theory about what's happening? It's kind of just, you get to experience Star Wars again. But it's not like a show like Lost or some of these shows where it's like just leaving you on these cliffhangers. You just gotta know what happens next. Am I crazy? Is that
No, I think
fair?
that's right. I think they even I'm totally gonna show my novice Star Wars, but the machine, what's
The
it called?
ATST?
I feel like they keep dropping little things like those in each episode to make you like the nostalgia of Star Wars, but yeah, I don't really feel like it has the huge, it doesn't, I don't know, I don't feel like it's got the huge Star Wars feel of everything, but it's
Yeah, or even I think it still feels like Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's just not I feel like narratively,
Yeah,
there's
it's
not
not the
enough of a
same.
clear kind of understanding of what the story is. And again, my thoughts on that might change when the whole season's out and you watch all 8 and watch season 2 and you kind of know what's going on. Because I think you got to have some of this, because I don't know if you noticed, Mando, he's a chatterbox in this episode.
he talks a lot more.
Yeah, he probably talked more in the first 10 minutes of this episode than he did in the first 3 episodes of the. It almost was a bit jarring.
I wonder if some of that part of this all comes from the idea that we're used to the movies where you get an hour, 2 hour long chunk of where we're going 20 to 30-minute episodes, and it's you only get so small that it's hard to really grasp.
Yeah, and we're kind of used to everything funnels into what the story is. Where this is more, and again, if you're a huge Star Wars nerd like me, and you watch the Rebels or the Clone Wars, those shows feel like this, where you get an episode that ties into the big plot, but then you get a couple episodes where the crew's off doing adventures in the galaxy, and it's kind of fun. You learn a bit more about the characters, but it's not really pushing the story forward. And then you get back into the main story. So I feel like this show, I think going in, I was expecting a little more of here's sort of the story. It's all going to be one contained each episode, where this is a little more just hey, you're in Star Wars. Here's this planet. Here's this. So that's maybe one of the not concerns, this questions I think I have going into it is we're halfway now. So I hope there's not too many more of these just adventure of the week episodes.
You can't really do a whole lot more.
Yeah, I want to get a little more into, kind of moving the overall plot. But what about the sort of positives? There's a lot of cool. So you mentioned the ATST, which was pretty awesome.
I feel like they had to have that in there.
Yeah, and in some ways, because they brought the ATST back in Rogue One movie, so we've seen it again. And I thought, well, initially I thought it's just going to be, we've seen it before. It's not, some of the cool factors worn off, but it was pretty awesome.
Well, I like the part that you, we didn't actually see it to be, the first, you saw its footprint and you just automatically knew what it was.
Yeah,
we both knew it. I was like, that I knew what it was, and I'm not a huge,
And even the way they handle, which is one of the things I've liked about the show so far in general, is that it's giving you the nostalgia, but it's kind of showing you it in a different way. Because they treated this thing almost like a big monster or something. This is terrifying. We were watching it with our boys, and one of our boys, he's like, "No, that's the boss of them because it has the big red eyes." And in some ways, it actually reminded me of the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. The trees are kind of shaking; they hear it coming, and just the way they kind of made it more menacing with, because there's a part of my mind when it shows up that's I know this is a big tank thing, but the Ewoks took out 3 of those things with sticks and swinging logs that tripped him, and so it's hard to take that too seriously. But they made it seem sort of like it's a force, and even just that it doesn't fall right away for the trap. It was
pretty smart, yeah. Whoever was,
which is again a positive too, I think, for just the way that I feel like The Last Jedi, the Star Wars movie, every turn it's trying to kind of subvert your expectations, and the good guys' plans never work out, and in some ways it's just sort of exhausting because everything goes wrong. Where this, on the other hand, is they have these plans, they don't necessarily work, but then they come up with other plans.
Yeah, it was refreshing to see it not like just go exactly as they wanted it to, and like show the bad guy isn't some like they're not like super, because I feel like a lot of times you just see like, oh, they're just gonna fail right away and the plan's gonna work out. It was all gonna be like super clean, like cut. But this was like, we gotta figure it out.
Yeah, it's just such a Star Wars thing to sort of like, kind of like a Han Solo. You wing it. You just sort of, okay, that didn't work. What next? I kind of got to figure something out. We got a new character.
You got two. Oh, yes, the girl, yeah.
Yeah, the one, the kind of the former rebel trooper. I think her name in the show is Cara Dune. And I think from going by the promo and the trailers, at some point she's coming back and she's going to be kind of a regular with him. What do you think of her in this episode?
I thought it was really cool. I mean, they fought and like she kicked his butt.
Yeah, it's another. What is that? 3 times in 4 episodes that which they kind of tied, I guess. But
yeah, but like she did. I mean,
she did a number on him because that's been one of my things going throughout this whole season so far is like the Mandalorian is this legendary warrior, but every episode he's kind of getting knocked out, getting beat up. But I thought it was a pretty even fight. But
yeah.
So what do you think of her? What does she add to this? Is she someone that you can kind of see fitting in with this?
Yeah, I think I was nice. They didn't really do any like romantic connection between the two of them, which was refreshing.
Yeah.
And I just thought she was a pretty solid character.
Yeah, and there's just sort of like mutual respect, like kind of warrior to warrior. And it was interesting too just to see her, because you've seen kind of the other side, right? Even with like Finn or like the former Imperials or bad guys that are now kind of good. Mm-hmm. Here you kind of have the opposite, where she was like a former rebel good guy, and then once the war was over and it was peace, she's like, I'm not into peace. I'm not going to be a policeman. Like, I want to fight. So she goes off on her own. Mm-hmm. So it's a unique take on kind of, that story. I think she'll be interesting going forward. I hope, because again, we still haven't got the robot from the first episode back. IG-11. So I'm hoping kind of at some point you get Kara back, you get IG back, and kind of have like a motley crew, a little team. This is I think the Mandalorian, especially because he doesn't talk a whole lot, like I think he needs that dynamic, right? Like he needs someone to play off of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a little misfit team of just kind of like odds and ends people like kind of mix together. And I like it. It'd be nice if they did come together. Yeah,
and kind of Star Wars has always kind of been about that banter, and Baby Yoda's not talking a whole lot, so I feel like he needs. Well, he is every episode they find ways to
just make him even cuter.
But do you think it's too cute? Like he doesn't annoy me yet. Like I think,
no, and our kids watched this with us and they loved it. They like laughed so much when he was playing around in the ship.
Right when they, he looks at him, pushes the button.
You're
a parent, you understand.
He was just like.
And then when Mando and Karloff are on the ground with guns fighting, and they look over and he's just like sipping his tea or whatever, kind of watching the watching the action. So he's great. I think he just
adds
cute.
A little like different. In the episodes, he just kind of like takes off the edge every once in a while when it gets like really
they use him right, like these where it's just cute enough to kind of keep things light, engage the kids, in an episode that otherwise it's like a war thing, fighting raiders. I think it's kind of a nerd thing of the week, which let me know, maybe I'm missing one. I think the Baby Yoda was talking to that creature, kind of growls at him. I think that's a Loth cat, which was introduced in the Rebels TV show. And I was trying to think, I think that might be the first time we've ever seen something go from animated to live action in Star Wars. You've had to go the other way, where there's things that are live action and they show up in the series. But I don't think there's ever been, like there was stuff in Rogue One, like the spaceship or a robot that made cameos, but that's a little different because they just look like the other robots and spaceships. But to get like a creature, an alien, and kind of see what it looks like as a cartoon, and which, as a Star Wars nerd, so I don't know. Let me know if I think Boba Fett first appearance was animated, but technically he was created as a live action character. But so I like that kind of stuff. They don't draw a whole lot of attention to it, but they've done that several times where they're just sort of peppering in these kind of nerdy checklist stuff for Star Wars fans that I'm like, hey, that's a Rothcat, and Sarah's like, what? What?
Why do you know what that is?
But maybe kind of final thoughts on this episode. I think overall maybe it's one of my least favorite, even though I loved it. Like I still thought it was great, enjoyed it.
Yeah. What did you think of the romance between the I don't know what her name was and
like the villager? Yeah, you know, I think romance is a part of Star Wars. I liked the way they used it, where I wasn't, and even she took it well. Like she wasn't like pining for him and all depressed. She got it. Like, hey, you're a warrior. You got to do your things. You know, so they handled that well. But they kind of used that dynamic to. Like I thought it was interesting. Some of their conversations, you learn more about. Like, you know, he hasn't shown his face, which you got a tease of it.
Yeah, he takes it off, but they don't show you his face. I was waiting for the girl to like look up from the like playing with the kids to see him with it off or something. Like I was like, oh, she's gonna look up and he's gonna have his helmet off, but like because he's standing in the window.
Well, I was telling Sarah too, like you know, he shows up with this baby Yoda, you know, and she's sort of falling for him, but like for all she knows, like, he's a Yoda underneath there. Like he's this hideous green guy with big ears. Like she doesn't know what he's the human.
Can't be that tall.
Or I guess Mandalorians, but it. Yeah, so I think you did learn more about kind of through that dynamic.
They never explained why she can like shoot and stuff. Is she coming back, or is that just like, because like they ask if?
Yeah, because she's like nailing the target. I think she maybe just naturally
she raised her hand when they asked if who can like shoot a gun, and she must have done something previous to their farming.
Yeah, I'm curious. And again, if you guys have seen like the cartoon, which Sarah hasn't. I have, just because I have a problem. I'm addicted to Star Wars. But that's kind of like the... Jon Favreau is like the director of Iron Man. He's like the showrunner. And like the other co-producer is Dave Filoni, who's sort of like George Lucas's protege that he brought into the Clone Wars. So he's the guy that ran the cartoon shows, and now he's doing this. And one of the kind of MOs he had for like some of the cartoons is that you have these kind of seemingly throwaway episodes that not a whole lot happens. You meet a character and then they're gone. But then he would always have a way to like he would kind of say, no, nothing's without a point. Mm-hmm. And they would, at some point, he would bring it back, or they'd go back to the planet, or things that you kind of thought that was sort of neat but meaningless would have some significance later on. So again, this is a different, he's not necessarily the head guy in this, but I'm curious if some of that ties over like with her, with this planet. If some of these scenes or kind of episodes that, even like the I Have Spoken guy, like there's been about 3 fascinating characters with him, the robot, Cara Dune, that like have been one-offs. Like,
yeah,
it's like they meet a cool guy he has some chemistry with, and then they're gone.
I keep wondering. I almost wonder if she would like join him, and they would like at the end of this episode, and then she would go with him. And then I was like, oh, guess she's not going with him. She's going the other way.
Yeah, and again, like there's only 8 episodes, or 4 episodes left, and I know she shows up at some point, so she can't be gone for too long. But again, this is the halfway point. Curious as sort of how things tie in, kind of what's being set up. But so far, I guess you still enjoying the show, is it?
Yeah, and our kids get to watch it with us, and they seem to really like it, even the scarier parts for them. But
yeah, they're a little terrified of the red-eyed, the bad guy, ATST boss they called him. But again. We'd love to hear what you think of this, because we have a neat perspective. I'm watching it as like a hardcore, undefeated Star Wars Trivial Pursuit player. Sarah is watching it as someone that's seen all the movies multiple times, enjoys it, but isn't as hardcore. And then we have our kids that watch it with us, who've seen the movies. I've introduced them young. But again, they don't know a whole lot to follow the story. They're sort of watching it to be entertained. And I think, at least we've found that all of us have still enjoyed it, have things to kind of latch on to, which I think is sort of what they're going for with a show like this. Like it can, whether you're hardcore, whether you're more casual, whether you're just checking it out, whether you're young. Again, let us know what you guys think of this. If you guys have been following the show, we're halfway. Can just give us, we'd love to hear your general impressions of the show. What, if you've kind of lived up to the hype, if you're feeling a little let down, that it's not more kind of tying all together. If you're, if the nostalgia stuff is too much, or if you're kind of like me and freaking, it's an ATST, it's, it's a Lothcat. If you're, let us know kind of your thoughts. We can just hear, where you fall on the show. And Again, if you haven't done so already, please, we'd love for you to subscribe to our channel, keep up with all our video content, our Star Wars stuff, our movie reviews, some of the other videos we'll be doing. Make sure you hit that like button on this video, and we want to thank you for watching. Hope you'll continue to collide with your world for Christ.